Uh, it's a lovely good evening and welcome to Ubuntu channel. Thank you so much for joining us. Though we have started a little bit late, we do apologize for that. This is due to circumstances beyond our control, but however, the program must continue. This is Meet Your Leaders, and I am your host, Lance Sani Banda, taking you through the 55 minutes that we have scheduled for you right here on this very platform. And of course, to help me discuss our topic of discussion, which I will be introducing a little bit shortly, let me get to introduce our guest. We have Jordan Mulungu, who is a business administrative as well as also a youth mentor. Mr. Jordan, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, and thank you very much for having me. Listeners out there, good evening and greetings. We hope to interact with you, and whatever we are going to discuss will be a helpful tool to our nation and to our youth.
Thank you so much. Let me also be quick to mention that you are very active in youth mentoring, especially in the Luapula province. How is the province doing?
The province is doing fine in terms of economy and in terms of everything. The province at the moment is doing okay. Basically, we are one of the provinces that has been blessed with a lot of resources, so we can't complain much. We are fine.
Okay, great. Now, our dear viewer, today on the program, we are discussing the management of CDF and prevention of corruption. Now, when we talk of prevention of corruption, we are talking prevention of corruption in the management of CDF, or simply put, the Constituency Development Fund. And of course, as you can see, we continue bringing you the youthful people that are taking part into leadership positions, leadership roles, and also making sure that the government gets to include young people in discussing national development. Now, quickly, Mr. Mulunga, rather, let me get to give you a chance to at least shortly give us your profile or a simple biography. Who is exactly Jordan Mulunga?
Okay, thank you very much, our listeners out there. Mr. I'm very happy to receive this. Mr. Mulunga Jordan is a youth. I think this year I'm 35. Currently, I'm chairing a Luapula Kawambwa District Youth Network as a chairperson. We are located at the district is the administrative offices. Not only that, I'm also the acting president of Luapula Chamber of Commerce and Trade. Not only that, I also um, administer my businesses, which are microfinances here in Luapula province. So basically, the issues of the CDF will be something of our interest because we are the stakeholders and the end users of this program. So that is about Jordan Lunga. That's about my profile, simple profile. Thank you.
Very simple indeed, and we really appreciate that. Quickly, let's get to dive in into our topic of discussion. Issues to do with the CDF. Before we get straight into the management of CDF, let's get to talk about Luapula province, especially your constituency or district that you come from. Um, let's highlight what you have seen so far in terms of the disbursement of CDF.
Okay, thank you very much for according me this opportunity. As we are aware, we have 12 districts in our province, and what we have seen at the moment is the disbursement of CDF in the two districts, which is Mwanza and Kawamba, which was last week under the first quarter. So only two districts have received the disbursement of the CDF for the first quarter. That's what we have seen here. But the rest of the districts are complaining that they have not seen anything. That is the stance of our province. Thank you.
So out of 12 districts, only 2 can confirm receipt of the Constituency Development Fund.
Yes, that is definitely yes.
All right, pretty interesting. Now, let's quickly dive into or delve into our discussion. Management of CDF. I would like to bring you or you together with our viewer into speed of the accessing of this CDF. What really exactly is required for one to at least not maybe one, but for a constituency to at least participate in these CDF activities, them either getting a loan, getting a grant, as well as looking at the formation of cooperatives and probably get deals that government has put in place in terms of decentralization of governance.
Okay, what is required is stipulated in the books which has been given by the government, the procedure that people are supposed to follow. For example, we talk about cooperatives. People need to come together. They have to formulate the groups and register them. They have the registration. They can now apply for these CDF funds. Without application, without applying for the same funds, we don't expect people to get into the CDF coffers. No. So the process is simplified, although we have not been helped very much by the people responsible to explain to the public on the requirements. So what people are told is just to register. After registration, they are also told what is needed on the paperwork, the NLCs, national registration numbers, and photocopies, and so forth. So basically, those are the basic information that we can tell the public concerning the application of the CDF funds.
All right. This management, we are talking about 25.7 million kwacha that has been dispersed or that has been put across for each and every constituency or from the 156 constituencies that we have in Zambia. Do you think this is adequate, especially for a province like Luapula, for it in order for it to develop?
Okay. Basically, what I can say is that at the moment, I think the money is enough. Right, because they have also increased to 28 million like that.
20.
So basically, it is enough. Now, what is lacking is the use of the same funds because, for example, the disbursement that I was talking about in Kawambwa was only 800,000. So we can assume in two constituencies, the first one received for 400 something, and the other one also received 400. So basically, the money is there, but on the utilization, the management by the public is where we have a concern now. So basically, we need to first test this money that has been given to the public and see if this is not enough. But basically, I can confirm that the money is quite all right, huge, and it will help our province if well utilized by the public.
Now, let me take you back to this. As a youth mentor, have you taken time to look at the CDF guidelines and maybe in one way or the other try to inculcate it into the young people of Luapula province and see how best they can work around them or with them so that at least there is disbursement of these funds and then certain projects get to move and maybe different constituencies get developed.
Yes, that is our one area of interest as the youth network. What we have done is we have affiliated more than 150 youth groups in Kawambwa, those that are members of our network. So basically, we train them on how to fill the forms, on how to go about the CDF process. So these people have applied, and since they have not been given, they are always on us. So basically, we can confirm that people have been given enough information by our office, those that are affiliated to our office. But those who want shortcuts, uh, they are also part and parcel of the applicants, but I cannot say much on them. But basically, we have groups that have been affiliated to our network that have been given information so that they can fill the forms and apply for the CDF using a layout procedure.
Now, Mr. Mulunga, you will agree with me that you are very influential in Luapula province, and just help me together with the viewers. How far, or in just giving an ordeal of how easy or hard it has been for the youth of Luapula to access this CDF fund. Like you have mentioned, out of the 12 districts in Luapula province, only two have managed to access at least about 800,000 kwacha. How hard has it been for the youth of Luapula through maybe their civic leaders to access these funds?
Okay, yes, that is true. There is a conflict on accessing CDF fund. One thing that I'll talk about is the CDC. This committee that receives the applications and sends to the chairperson, who is the member of parliament, becomes something else. So it is not possible for the youths to apply. For instance, the administration of Rapura province politically, as we are aware, the chairpersons of the CPF management are all opposition of the government. So if there are people that genuinely apply for the CDF, they are finding it difficult to approve something of their not interest. So this has made the province not to receive the funds. That is one thing, one key person. The people that are found in CDS, many of them are related to the opposition, okay, against the government. The government has used the funds. Now the chairperson is the member of parliament, and 90%, or should I say 100% of member of parliament of Mapula province are all opposition. So they are the people that are mandated to sign to approve those funds. So that is one thing that is hindering youths from accessing the funds, because youth now, for example, our youth network is a Ministry of Youth and Sports aligned ministry. So we are not part and parcel of any political party. So even though we let our people to apply for this CDF, we
Mhm.
find it at one point there will be a hand of approval by someone who does not recognize this. So that one has made it very impossible for people to access the funds, especially our youths.
Mm. Now, this leaves much to be desired. Or maybe let me go through to these other questions. Still talking about, obviously, the management of CDF. We know for a fact
Yes.
that there's need for each ward to have a ward development committee, and then for a constituency to have a constituency development committee. Now, these are committees that looks at what the community has put across to say this is a project that we want the funds to go through or to go into. Looking at the ward development committee, how accessible are these people in this province of Luapula, in all the wards that Luapula has?
Okay, it is a very good initiative of having these committees from the ward level, especially in Wapura province. But we still have a problem, because it looks like the same ward the committees are not helpful to the public. Because I remember some people calling us, asking us, what should we do? What should we do? And since no one was given the money, because the money we are talking about was 2 months, Masabombo, they corrected it, I think last month, then Kawambwa this month, last week. So it's like everyone is not is doesn't know what is happening, what is going on. So the information to the public from the wards, yes, quite right, they are accessible, but not as much that can be help for them to get the funds.
All right. So, as a youth network, what have you done, or what are you doing to see to it that the youths, especially in this constituency, get to have access to the to the Ward Development Committee? Because these are the people that receive first proposals from just members of the community before it even goes to the Constituency Development Committee.
Okay, so currently what we are doing is that we are referring our people once they are coming to office to inquire about how far the money is. Then, since we know that there is a committee, we are referring them to them so that they can be given more information from the wards. That's what we are doing basically. We are referring our youths to the same wards committee so that they can be assisted on the possibilities of receiving those funds.
All right. I know that maybe you have gone through, or you have seen this process through, of accessing these funds, which is kind of long and cumbersome. From the constituency, from the ward development, we go to the constituency, and then from the constituency, obviously, there is another hierarchy that which we go to for certain projects to get approved, or for certain monies or of projects to get approved. um, do you think this long process of funds to get approved, or of different projects from different constituencies to get approved, is okay, or there is need for a shortening process where maybe we start from, yes, ward, we go to constituency, then from constituency we go straight to the minister of local government, and then from there maybe that's where it can come to the planning committee, and then it gets back down to the constituency development as well as the ward development committee?
Yeah, that is true. When the CDF was announced by the president that we are going to increase it from there, everyone was happy, and we are still happy because the money is huge. Now, what is needed to be desired is the process. The process is not so simple. The process is not so simple. So we want to appeal to the government to see that they go back to the sitting. They have to go back to the table and the plan on how best this money can be given to the people, because this is the third quarter we are talking about, and people are only receiving those first quarters. So meaning the money which was primed for the second quarter, third quarter hasn't been disbursed. So there are a lot of things that needs to be done by the technocrats of the CDF by the shortening the process. The process has to change because the issue is once the Ministry of Finance releases the funds, they are releasing these funds to the Ministry of Local Government. The local government also now takes to the line the ministries. So instead of the money coming direct, the Ministry of Local Government is auditing the funds so that they can see the proposals, the projects that have been applied by different districts. So at that stage, it is possible that the process of getting these funds is becoming something else because the money is not coming direct to the intended stakeholders of the money. So yes, the process is very, very difficult to get. I remember one cooperative approaching us. They were they were actually 12. They wanted to get money. Then we advised them what to do, apply, register. They did everything. But at the end of the day, they failed. They said, no, the process is not okay. We cannot be helped as quickly as possible. So the process of getting the CDO fund needs to be looked into by amending the policy. That's what I can say.
All right. So after talking about the process of accessing this fund, let's get to talk about the management of this same fund. Although this will still go in line with the same process, because it's from the process that you take from down there to the minister, and then after approving, it also comes back down to where it started from. Do you think it is a right decision for the Minister of Local Government and Urban Development to manage these funds, or to be at the approving end of all projects that go through his office, owing to the fact that we have 156 constituencies that will submit their different projects, and it's not only one cooperative from one constituency, but it's many cooperatives from a constituency coming through to ask for this minister to approve their project which they have for the constituency. Do you think it is a right thing for the minister to be the one to approve, and then after that, that's when he takes it to the technical committee?
Okay, I think from my own perspective, it is just okay. The minister cannot be phased out of the process because we want to protect the issue of corruption. So the minister is just okay to manage it. But where the problem is on the chairperson of the CDC committee. That's where the problem is. The minister may approve, but still with the CDC chairperson, who is the area member of parliament for that particular constituency, does not sign or approve, then everything is intact. Besides the minister of local government signing on it. So basically, the person that would want to be phased out of this process is the area member of parliament. If the minister, I would propose that instead of the member of parliament being the secretary, being the chairperson of the CDC, let it be for the council chairperson, because we are talking about decentralization. The chairperson, the council secretary can manage these funds and can be very helpful. Instead of him being the secretary of the CDC, no, let him be the chairperson, because they are the ones that are staying with people. They are the ones that knows the projects that is going on. But as it stands, the minister does not stay. The area of member of parliament does not stay in the district. They stay in Lusaka for the meetings. Yes, quite right. So meaning they cannot approve something that they are not aware. I think I remember when the debate came into parliament about the management. One opposition minister or MP said, my constituency is not able to manage these funds because we have no technocrats. I remember that statement. So basically, we would propose that the person for the CDC should not be the area member of parliament. Let's put him aside. Let them just concentrate on making laws in the parliament. But for this, they give to the council secretary, because people will now be going to the councils to get information, and the approval will be very quick if we go that way. Then why going that way? We are talking about decentralization. The government has given the public the powers so that they can do whatever they want in line with the government policy. For instance, the issues of 80th National Development Plan, which is being drafted in all the districts. The stakeholders have been caught. Okay, they have been caught at the district level, not at national level. So this is the same thing that we apply. We are appealing to the government to say, let's consider about the issues of the chairperson, because the minister will approve quite all right. But if again the chairperson of the CDC does not sign, then we don't expect anything, like in case of Wapura province.
Mr. Mulunga, I'll come back to the issue of Secretary for CDC. I want you and I to move in the same direction, or maybe not you and I moving in the same direction, but I would like you to explain further to viewers that are watching this particular broadcast. Let's get to understand the Minister of Local Government does not only look at CDF. He has a lot already on his plate or on his hands. He has the council to look after. Okay, he has even development to look at which district, which province, or maybe which area needs development, especially with the rampant creation of new districts that we had recently, especially in the previous regime. We need those districts to be working They need to have administration blocks. They need to have everything in place. And it's the minister's core mandate to see to it that those districts created, there is urbanization created there. And then this is the same minister that we have put to approve all the 156 constituency projects that come for CDF. Note me correctly, it's not only one project that come from one constituency. Obviously, for argument's sake, we can say 3 or 4 projects are coming through from each and every constituency. The minister has to sit down, look at these projects constituency by constituency before he makes a decision to appendix his signature to say, I have approved this project. Don't you think that is too much for him? Should the minister be the one to have the final say in the distribution of CDF?
Okay, thank you. I get your point now. From my own understanding, the minister does not work alone. The minister doesn't work alone. He works with the other people. He has the PS, permanent secretaries. He has also the technocrats, the director. They are there to advise him and to help him because he cannot manage from that perspective. But because he has these technocrats who helps him, I think it is why one of the reasons why the government decided to also include him, because the CDF cannot be run without the minister because of decentralization. If there was no decentralization, quite all right, we would have not supported the minister to be approving. But because of decentralization and the issue of corruption cannot be managed without the involvement of the minister. So the main problem here is the chairperson of the CDC who does not maybe take the project to the ministry. That's the problem.
Okay, let me come to the CDC secretary. It seems like this is a hot issue for Luapula province. Now, as you have already put it, for each constituency, and for people, maybe our viewers that have just joined, you don't know what we are discussing. We are discussing the management of CDF, which is Constituency Development Fund, as well as the prevention of corruption through accessing this CDF. And when we talk about CDC, we are simply saying Constituency Development Committee. And when we say WDC, we are talking about Ward Development Committee. Now, Mr. Mulunga, it seems like Luapula province has got an issue with your civic leaders, especially in approving different projects that different constituencies as well as districts have put across, so that maybe development starts taking place or these projects start taking place. Why are you of a view that the Community Development Committee, or the Constituency Development Committee secretary should not be an MP? Because I don't think secretary is above chairperson. I'm sure in the CDC we have a chairperson who approves what the whole group has approved. So why is the secretary a main issue who happens to be an area member of parliament?
Okay, the secretary has the rights. The chairperson is not there. The chairperson cannot work in isolation with the secretary, because the secretary sometimes will sit in behalf of the chairperson. So because of this combination, it has led to non-effectiveness or non-disbursement of the CDF to our province. So one of these two has to be phased out of the project so that things can be okay. Because the secretary also wants to see what is happening. He has to sign at the end of the day. The secretary and the chairperson has to sign. So if now the combination is one who is in Lusaka The other one is in Luapula. It makes something now difficult. That's the problem. The chairperson was signed quite all right, but he's not going to approve everything. The secretary also has to pen the signature that he should approve this. So this combination is making it difficult. And by the way, the secretaries that we have here in Wapura province are civil servants in that case, quite all right. But because of the political affiliation and conflicts, we might not find development at the end of the day. Because the year has ended and we have not seen much on the issues of the disinvestment of the funds. And people want it. So one of these two, according to my views, has to go.
Okay, so they have to go.
Yes, we are talking about removing them from the committee so that other people can come in. For instance, if the chairperson can be the council secretary, then that will be fine because things will be okay. And then if the secretary, for example, we change, the secretary says, okay, instead of being the member of parliament, we find someone, the government can find someone who can fit within the government departments, head of departments. That can help out, can help out, yes.
All right, Mr. Mulunga, we are speaking in general here when we talk about Luapula province. Perhaps let's make it easy for our viewer that is watching us either from Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitter. How many constituencies does Luapula province have?
Okay, I think I'm sorry on that statistics. I may not be so correct. I may not be so correct. Yes.
No problem. Okay, so now still in the management, before we come to corruption, still in the management of this CDF, and also still talking about the long process that it takes for either a grant, a loan, or just simple funds to be released for different constituencies to at least get to enjoy what they have planned for. Let's come to an issue of after the minister approves, the local government minister approves, why is there need for it to get back to the technical committee? Because the minister has appendixed his signature. Why should it go to the technical committee? And then from there, it goes to, I'm trying to remember that committee. There are two committees that it needs to get to before it comes back down to people that applied for it. Why is it that this is the process that should be? Don't you think the process is too long and it will take very long for constituencies to develop because there's no time for people to approve?
Okay, thank you very much. That is very true. The process is not okay. There are a lot of gaps in the CDFO process. There are a lot of gaps. I think from the technocrat aspect, I can simply say the issuance of the CDF is just okay, but the process itself was not well done. The process was not well done. You are very right. The minister signs, then again after signing it comes to the technocrats. For what? So basically, the technocrats under the Ministry of Law Government needs to sit down and see how best they can reduce some of these processes. Otherwise, people still continue suffering when money is there, when the government has budgeted for the people. People need to come back and see that they shorten the process of accessing the funds.
Let me get to a simple question before we get to corruption. In your own analysis and in your own view, at what percentage do you think 2022 CDF has worked in terms of disbursement of these funds overall for all 156 constituencies? At what percentage do you think we are at?
Okay, thank you. Because whatever is happening in all the provinces is being shown by social medias, the TVs. So basically, I can say maybe 15% out of 100%. That's my own analysis.
Okay, thank you so much. To you, our listener, shortly, slightly after 40 minutes, we'll give you a chance to come through into either the studio, you come through, ask a question, express a view, or share a comment on what we are discussing. My guest for this evening is Jordan Mulunga, who is a youth mentor as well as a business administrator. And he hails from Luapula province, a province that most of us do not talk about because all the provinces that we think of is Lusaka as well as the Copperbelt province. Our topic of discussion this evening is management of constituency development fund as and also prevention of corruption. So you can either leave a message under this broadcast, wherever that you are watching us from, either from Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitter. If you are new on Ubuntu, welcome. We are glad that you have become part of the family. And of course, right about now, we are sharing with you the link, the studio link, which you can join us in. We'll be glad to hear from you. We'll be glad to hear your experience of acquiring CDF, as well as just your general overview about CDF. Like, tell us, what percentage do you think has been dispersed in terms of the whole CDF for 156 constituencies of Zambia in this year 2022, as we get to prepare for the first quarter of 2023 CDF, which is now amounting to 28.3 million kwacha. So we are in the fourth quarter of 25.7 million kwacha. Now, Mr. Mulunga, let's come to the issue of corruption in CDF. What's the best way, do you think, we can prevent corruption from happening in accessing constituency development funds?
Okay, thank you very much. Corruption has been a disease of all the nations. And with the coming of our government, we have seen strives of preventing corruption from all aspects of lives. So basically, in the issue of CDF, first of all, we have to start from the grassroots, which is the World Development Committee, because the people goes there for information. So we might miss it that people are paid something for them to submit some of those proposals. So how best can we prevent it? First of all, the members themselves, the beneficiaries, have to report any act of corruption, anything that the World Development Committee asks for them to submit their form. That's the first step we need to take. Then the second step, I think we cannot corrupt the CDC because that is a combined team. That's a combined team. So basically, we can also still prevent the corruption in the CDF process by seeing how many groups are being given the CDF, the empowerment. For instance, we are talking about our province, where the majority of people are opposition. That's what I can say, the opposition leaders. So we might find that the new youth groups that have been created now have no access to these funds. So basically, we can still measure the corruption depending on the people that have been given the money, especially on the first quarters. We need to be monitoring each and every step. Thank you.
Mm. All right. This, since you've mentioned it, the issue of Ward Development Committee, and I asked about this to say, how accessible are they? Since you have mentioned it, uh, how do we start by cabinet from Vamene WDC? Yes, quite all right. Somebody may go through and report to police, but like you've mentioned, in that province, it's deemed as Nwa opposition Vamene Varimo. So suffice maybe Nabakapokola Varimo, Nwa opposition, or maybe they can be easily enticed by these same opposition because so what is the best way to go about it in curbing it from its roots, which is the WDC? Should we start by maybe my community members proposing what development they want to see in the ward, or simply leaving it kuli ma ward development committee nja tipangire decision imene imwe ngati linayo tisakabwera ife?
Okay. Yes, we can start from there. The best thing is involvement of the people. People has to be trained on the impact of corruption. For example, in Wapura province, you find that we have no laws here. We have no laws. So this is one of the reasons that corruption has contributed, because where people are supposed to do the right thing, they are not doing it, and you are silent, you are also corrupted. So best thing to do is to train people, teach them about that. And we appreciate the government of the day, because we have seen that the ACC now has disbursed the numbers and the process, or now somebody can report those aspects of corruption. So basically, for example, our network, we always have programs on our WhatsApp group for the district to train people and guide them how to report. Those that are fearing to report, we ask them to report to us. And after reporting, we also analyze from our office. In this case, a corruption, yes, we will always forward them to the ACC so that they can investigate. Then they also respond quickly. They investigate, then they say, okay, this case can go like this case can go like that. So that dissemination has really helped our leaders not to be corrupted. That's what we are doing as the network. So let's involve everyone through sensitization by the ACC, then everything will be okay. That's what we are going to do. Not only that, not only that,
No.
because we are talking about only the 400,000 disbursed for the first quarter under CDF for Kawambo. So we are going to take also keen interest in seeing the projects that they applied for and what they are doing, so that we can see whether there are some impact of corruption, or if there are some leaders from the CDC who are asking funds from the same members. That is where corruption can come. They say, we are going to approve your project and then you pay us something. So as the network, will be on the ground to check on how they are doing and the reports. And if you see that things are not all right, we'll be reporting to the relevant authorities so that they can come and help us investigate how that project was approved and how they are utilizing the same funds. Because we want them, for example, if it is revolving funds, the grants, the revolving funds, they have to pay back so that other people can have access. Unlike what happened, I was reading the auditor's report today. It was found that some roads were disbursed in Wapura province, 18 million. Out of 13 million, only under the Ministry of Youth, only 1,700,000. That's the audit report I have. 1,700,000 that's been recovered. Then the same roads were not insured. That is the report. So what is the problem? We don't want to just leave it to the line ministry. We are the public wants also to get involved into curbing corruption.
Now, Mr. Mulunga, you might not, or let me say, your youth network group might not be in each and every district of Luapula province, and you are talking about telling the youths that they should report to this youth network. What about people that are not in your constituency or in your district? How do they get to report about this corruption happening from the grassroots?
Okay. First of all, for the public, I think we might be excused because there was no power. We had a problem here, so we just connected our phones, and my phone is running out of battery, so I'm connecting the other phone for connection. And coming back to as I'm connecting, coming back to the question, what we have done, I have created all the district WhatsApp groups. There is Luapula Development, okay, Luapula Chamber of Commerce and Trade, and the Luapula Development Group. So with these groups, I can say that all the districts of Luapula province are there. So whatever information we are sharing, even this meeting, most of the districts are listening to it because we have come to be one in the district. So I'm happy Just here, I'm what you have connected the other phone. So,
Okay.
okay, okay.
All right. For our viewers that are watching either from Facebook or YouTube, you are welcome in case you have just joined this broadcast. Welcome. This is Meet Your Leaders on Ubuntu channel. And this evening, we are discussing management of constituency development fund and prevention of corruption. We'll be glad to hear from you, or we'll be glad to read your message. Kindly leave a comment through the comment section, and we'll be happy to read it and understand your question, as well as have our guest in the studio to get to respond to your different questions, as well as your different perspectives or experiences as far as CDF is concerned. Mr. Mulunga, you can continue.
Okay, yes. So what we have done, we have created the WhatsApp group because last time we went to Youth Indaba for this year 2022. So all the districts were there of Luapula province. So from there we created, we interacted, we networked, we got the numbers for each district representation. So we have created the WhatsApp group for the whole province, which has a lot of people from different districts. So the information that we are sharing now is not like we are now in the different areas. All the people of Luapula province, most of them, they are there. If not 10, not less than 10, they are there in the same group. So the issues of corruption are being shared every time because we have seen and realized that corruption has disadvantaged our province. When we had money, when we had ministers in the previous, more than 5 or 10 ministers from the respective ministries, they were there, but we have seen that we are the most underdeveloped province, one of the underdeveloped provinces in Zambia for the past 10 years. So we have now come together as one. So as we are speaking, this information is in Nchelenge, Chifunabuli, Chiengi. They are listening in Nchelenge, everywhere they are listening. So that's what we are saying. So basically, information dissemination is okay. And what we have done, the provincial youth chairperson is from Kawambwa also. So since he's the one from Kawambwa and he helps to create networks in all the districts of Luapula province, this has made it possible for us to be one in the province.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Mulunga. Before I continue with the issue of corruption, there's a question that has come through, which I would like to read from here. It's coming through from Ruben Mulungu. He says, can CDF be disbursed to people without an MP? This is in the case of Kabushi and Kwacha constituency.
Okay, thank you very much. When Kawamba was disbursing the funds actually for reference sake last week, there was no members of parliament. We had no representatives from Pambashe constituency and the central constituency, not even a mayor. These three were not around, but the money got to the people. So in the case of Kabushi, where there is no member of parliament, where there is no secretary, but there is a chairperson, that one I think will be somewhat tricky because the guidelines cannot be abrogated. The guidelines cannot be abrogated. So I think maybe only the president, the minister of local government and the president have the rights to decide on that matter. Basically, as it is maybe not possible for the money to come out because the one person to sign is not there. So now it has to be taken maybe to the court so that they can decide on what step can be followed. I think that becomes the legal matter. Thank you.
Pretty interesting, and it brings about a serious discourse. especially when it comes to this issue. But however, that's not what we are discussing this evening. And let's get to move on with our point of discussion. So, looking, Mr. Mulunga, looking at the long process of acquiring this CDF, don't you think that the process itself is a conduit or it's a ripe ground for corruption to occur?
Okay. The process is a problem. I'll give you an example.
Mr. Mulunga, are you here? All right, we somehow seem to have lost Mr. Mulunga there, but hopefully we get to have him back. I'm sure this is due to network challenges that are coming through at the dying moments of the show. But however, the show has to continue, and the show still continues rather. For you, our lovely viewer, this is Meet Your Leaders on Ubuntu channel, and today we are discussing the management of Central Constituency rather Development Fund and prevention of corruption. Our guest is Jordan Mulunga, who is a youth mentor in the province of Luapula province, as well as also a business administrative who is based right there. And in our discussion so far, we have discussed how there is need for management of the CDF, especially owing to the fact that 2023 comes with a huge responsibility of having 28.3 million kwacha per constituency. And if you heard that budget presentation from Honorable Stumbeko Musokotwane, the Minister of Finance, he also mentioned to say that no money will be recorded into the treasury from the CDF. So 2022 CDF, even if it has only, the money has only been exhausted 20%, 80% will not be called back into the treasury, but rather it will still be credited into the account of 28.3 million kwacha right here. All right, so come through, be part of the program. We have shared with you the studio link. You can join us right here in the studio, be part of the program, share your experience. If you are a youth, you are a mother, you are a school going child, or as well as a tertiary educationist, you are going into tertiary education, share with us your experience as far as CDF accessibility is concerned. We would like to hear from you. We would love you to be part of the program. Mr. Mulunga, welcome back to the program.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the problem with the network, especially this late network where people are complaining every day.
It's
Okay.
great.
So I was giving an example. Yes. So I was giving an example of somebody saying, "Come and get Shima, come and eat Shima 12 hours." But that person says, "Okay, come and get. Fine. The money is there. Let me find you at the restaurant." So you go to the restaurant. You start waiting for that particular person. Then he does not show. So it means at the end of the day, you are going to lose appetite for Shima. So basically, the process of CDF is not okay. I can simply range it from 1 up to 10 to say the process of accessing CDF and today is 2 out of 10. The possibility of a citizen getting the CDF is 2 out of 10 because it is not just a matter of application, but also the matter of the bureaucracy, the processes that each individual group or person has to go through for the money to be released. So it is 2 out of 10 from the process. Yes.
All right, so if the process is 2 out of 10, this simply tells us that for one to acquire CDF, there is a possibility of corruption happening in one way or the other.
Yes, the corruption aspect is there, as I said earlier on, concerning the WDC, the corruption can be there. Also the CDC, the corruption can be there on the selectiveness of which individual groups to be approved or to submit the forms to, because no one knows if your application is submitted or not submitted. You just submit to the councils and then you doesn't know what follows next. You just simply start waiting for the money to come, of which you are not sure of. So corruption can be there indeed.
All right, Mr. Mulunga, thank you so much. So now, as we are winding down to this discussion, I can see we are 56 minutes gone, and we have to be winding down the program. I would like you to speak as a youth mentor as well as also a business administrative. What is the best way to go about curbing this corruption out of the process of this of acquiring CDF? It is a long process, yes, we know, but what is the best way that government should look at to see to it that in curbing corruption from happening out of acquiring this CDF? What recommendations can you give government?
Okay, thank you very much for according me this opportunity to speak. The first thing that I would like to appeal to the government is that being the business administrator, I would like to emphasize that first of all, let's look at the same groups. We are not talking about much on the groups or the clubs or the individuals who are getting this money. Do not forget that people have not been trained on how to use the funds. It's just a matter of them organizing themselves and then they are grouped and say, go and apply. They apply like that. So before even these funds comes out, these people, the stakeholders, first of all, I've started with the stakeholders, they need to be trained. If it is the fisheries, they have to be trained. Farming, they have to be trained. Whatever, the government has to come up with a deliberate policy. The corruption will not be there, because if these groups have no knowledge on how to write proposals, how to go the process, they would prefer to corrupt some processes, some steps for them to get through to the CDF. So government should not only release the funds as it is. We are appealing to them to come out and train these groups. Let's see, are they capable of managing the same funds? We want to be sure that this money will be in good use. This money shall not be just used to buy chickens. They start rearing chickens. At the end of the day, each one goes with 10. No, we don't want that. We want to see production, we want to see development of this money. So let the government come up with some programs of training the same people that have applied for the CDF. Although it is too late, but still, since they have not been given, we want them to come and train the people on the use of these funds. Secondly, on the process of acquiring, we appreciate the government of the day through His Excellency, the President, that what he has done has never been done before in terms of increasing the CDF, giving people money back. This is very recommendable job. But still, something needs to be done by the technocrats in terms of the processes. The process is not okay today. The money will still be there. The same complaints will be there tomorrow, even the other day. Our youths are complaining that nothing is coming out. And what we have started seeing in Zambia for our youths, not only in Luapula province, is not okay. It's not okay because of the process. The money is there. Those that have papers have been given grants. They are in schools now. They are in universities. That's good. What about these groups, the beneficiaries for CDF? The money is not coming out because of the processes. So we need to go back and see. We have to go back and sit back. Let's sit, the technocrats go back to the tables and redraft the process on how best the money can be given. We are not advocating for that the money can be given easily to the people for them to misuse. No, that's not our advocate. Our advocate is shortening the process. removing some people that are not needed in the process. Because I think a feasibility study for the past 1 year can give the government um, information to say this was wrong, this is right, this is wrong, this is right. Why is it that in other provinces we can see some development, but other provinces, mostly out of 156 constituencies, I think 100 have not benefited, if I may correct, 100 or even 130 is not has not received the CDF. It's not only Luapula, it's because of the process. So government, I'm just appealing that they go back to the planning again to see that maybe they dissolve these committees and see how best the money can come to the people, because people need money, and minus giving the people the CDF, we don't expect good things to happen to the citizen, because the essence of increasing the CDF was to benefit the public, was to benefit the members of the public. Now, if the money is just in the bank, the money is in the bank, and no one is able to access it, we are inviting corruption. We are inviting corruption because everyone now will be corrupting some processes for them to have money, which is not okay. So basically, the government has to reconsider the process of getting the CDM. Thank you.
Now, lastly, 2023, what do you hope to see change in Luapula province?
Okay. So in 2023, I hope to see the change in terms of disbursement of the CDF. I hope to see that every district receives the CDF funds as they apply. So as it stands, districts have not received the CDF. And they are receiving actually in arrears. We don't want that. We want to be doing it timely. Timely. If it is the first quarter, give them. Second quarter, give them. Third quarter, give them. Not like you start paying in arrears. We are in the last quarter of the year, and what people are receiving in two districts is for the first quarter. So we don't want
Correct.
that. Next year, we are hoping that the CDF can be given only a particular period. That's our hope.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mulunga. We really appreciate your time. And please do not close your doors, as we'll be calling on to you time and again to give us an update on Luapula province on this very channel. Consider it your own channel to at least voice out on issues that are happening in Luapula province.
Thank you very much for having me, and it is my pleasure to appear into Ubuntu channel. It is very good, and we'll be there for you once you call us.
Thank you so much. And to you, our dear viewer, we thank you for being part of the program, for all the likes, the shares, the loves, as well as the comments that you have sent through. We really appreciate you. We do not take them for granted, but we take them to heart, knowing that you are a part of this broadcast, whether on Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitter. And also not forgetting to each and everybody that has taken their time just to even see a snippet of this, we really thank you. I am your host, Lance Sani Banda. Good evening. And for on behalf of the entire production crew, this includes our technical team, we say bye-bye. Meet us tomorrow when we come back for Pansaka on this very channel. Good evening, stay blessed, and may the Lord continue blessing you.